Hi, you're in studio with me. I'm Marika Callangan. I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I'm a jewelry maker, an educator, and the woman behind Woman Create. I'm an artist and I mainly focus on collages where I explore and interrogate images so that I can try to feminize the image with focus themes on femininity, the female form, and female rage. So what led me to art was because I was diagnosed with endometriosis back in 2014. And in order to make sense of what that situation was for me, I turned to art first through collages. And then I would start to create images that would empower me. And eventually I first wanted to also empower women who are going through the same thing as me. So endometriosis is a gynecological disease that women or a portion of women have or develop during their lifespan. It's because of it's also referred to as a chocolate cyst. So it's a cyst that develops inside of the endometrium. I can't explain the medical exact of that. So you can flash it in the screen where the endometrium is. It's right here. So through the MFA program, I am being forced to expand my practice also into achieving these goals of contributing to feminist art here in the Philippines. I'm also interested in more embodied practices like performance, art, body art, and those types of things. And I want to ground all of these mediums into these concerns and experiences of women. My undergrad is communication art, so mostly film, design, yun yung focuses namin. Today, I'm still expanding into different types of mediums like performance, like textiles, and crafts and embroidery. I think at the end of the day, I still want to be grounded in collage. So the very practice and the very process of making a collage is about destruction and creation. We're destroying an image, for example, or a written work or a painting. Because I'm doing paper-based works or image-based interrogations, I would look at an image from maybe pornography or maybe a magazine or maybe from a historical book. I would rip it off from its original position or its original state, and that is a form of destruction already. Because I removed it from its original state, I am transforming it into a new state in which I have agency over. I am deciding which images, I'm kind of editing, I'm also curating it. So that's also a form of creation. So iba na yung context. The whole context of the image completely changes when you remove it from its original context. And I think that's the most powerful thing about collage is you're recontextualizing an origin into something new. There is this idea about where destruction comes from. I think even if my position, I would state that maybe at this point, when I'm making a type of work, I am not necessarily anger or I'm not necessarily enraged. But actually, maybe all forms of destruction do come from a sense of rage because I am also looking at what am I feeling frustrated about society, about how we are always being dictated on, how we are always made to feel small. And sometimes I don't necessarily catch yung idea that the intention actually comes from rage. But because I have that agency when I'm in the process of creating it into something negative, and then it becomes something playful, and it's something of my own accord. And I think that's also powerful because I start from a position of rage, and then it ends up becoming something that is playful because now I have transformed into something that is beyond what I have imagined, beyond the original state. And I think that's the power of creation as well. So some hurdles that I think complicate the process of transforming the idea into a final work is my sources of images. Because when I'm trying to identify or create what could be the Filipina identity, it's difficult to do when my source images are from Western-based sources. So that's one big hurdle. The second is there's a part of me, maybe because I'm a Gemini, I do want to explore different types of materials also. When people, or when you yourself, you tell yourself that you can't do something, whether it's art or if it's math or writing, you really can't do it. But because I told myself that I can get into these types of mediums and these types of materials, I am slowly expanding and transforming as well. And another thing, yung idea that there is no money in art. A lot of society continue to tell me and my past self that there really is no money in art. But actually, that's also not true. It is a career and it is a practice. It is the reason why so many people today continue to be uplifted and inspired. It's because of visual culture. It's because of visual art. I really think that is one of those two are the biggest things that I feel like I've gone past from my past self. Okay, kasi every year kasi I create a list of the things that I want to do. For example, last year or for 2 years ago, I wanted to do book cover designs. And then last year, I was given the opportunity to make a book cover for a feminist book. So parang nagtugma lang yung those two things. Another milestone is making murals. I never thought that I would be able to make a mural, but I faked it till I made it, and then I would practice how to paint on a wall. So that's a huge milestone for me. Getting into the MFA program sa UP, again, I never thought that I would get into UP. I failed the first time I took the test. Basta nag-fail lang ako nung first UPCAT ko. And so to be in UP now, taking masters, is a huge milestone for me. I have also money goals in terms of like making my art. So I was able to hit my first 7-digit project. And so that's a big milestone then for me. Making 7 digits through art alone, so those are milestones for me. Tanggalin nyo na lang yun, parang nagyayabang ako eh. Pero milestone ko kasi yun eh. People in my family, society continues to tell me that there is no money in art. But every year, and time again, I always prove them wrong through every project that I end up doing or through every artwork that I end up doing. There is money in art. And if you're serious about making it into a career, into a practice, that's something that you have to go through, yung hardships. Sometimes you don't have money, sometimes you don't have projects. But when you do get the projects, when you do get the opportunity, there's a lot of financial growth in as well. So I think it's important for young artists and young women and even a society that lambasts art for what it is to know that there really is money here. Thank you. So thank you again for listening to me. Once again, I'm Marika Callangan and you're in studio with me. Bye.